Okay. Hi, welcome to Breezing with Bierman, the podcast. Before I go any further, if you like what you hear today, please check out Breezing with Bierman, the podcast on Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, uh, YouTube, my YouTube channel, and LinkedIn. Today we're going to South America, where my wife is, mi esposa, was from originally, and we're going to visit our guest, and I have it written here, excuse me, amid the tapestry and majesty, I can't speak straight, I'm sorry, that comes from expert traditional craftsmanship, the Panama hat stands out as a symbol of elegance and cultural heritage with a rich history going back as far as the early 17th century. Some people say the conquistadors came and saw that the original Ecuadorian natives were wearing this kind of hat. And now carrying on this tradition is from Ecuador, Hugo Jose Gonzenbach. I hope I didn't shatter your name or anything else. Welcome to the show.
Fine, thank you very much.
Going back though, how do you know my wife? How do you know my wife? How do you know this hat and everything? What's the background story a little bit?
She's a very good friend with my aunt Pilar, who lives
Okay.
here also in Guayaquil, Pilar Mayo. And I think through Facebook, we got in touch a long time ago, maybe like a decade ago, because I was selling hats in the United States, and she wanted a hat. So, I don't remember if I sent it when I was there in Florida, or maybe in a visit that she made here in Ecuador, she got
Mhm.
one hat at that time. But since then, we've been in touch in Facebook. Uh, yeah, it's been a
For
while
many
now.
years. Well, she's always spoke highly of that. You did give her a lot of hats. One of her good friends, relative, gave me this hat. And my question is this: you've gotten into a business that's somewhat difficult. At the same time, what is your inspiration? What caused you to want to get in this business? And how's it going right now?
Well, the inspiration, I think, is mostly the fact of being aware the that the business was unsustainable for the weavers. Like I felt that there was something to be done about helping them to to rise or improve the prices that they were used to receive for weaving. Because in average, a weaver in Ecuador receives $150 for weaving, so it's just basically nothing. It's pretty
150 a month or just for one hat?
month
A
a
month.
month,
Wow.
yeah. So that's why usually it's like both in the house, the man and the woman who are weaving, and that's why also the kids learn since they are young, because somehow they make, the more hats they make per month, I mean, the more people participating, there's a new there's another income. Okay,
Gotcha.
so and usually the ones who weave better when they are adults are the ones who started when they were young. It's like any athlete usually. Like Messi,
Mhm.
he's great because he's been playing since he was a kid. So I don't buy hats to anybody who is under 18, but I know that they practice and practice since a young age.
Mhm. Yeah, because this is basically a niche. I mean, this is craftsmanship, right? What are the materials? How long does it take to make a hat like this?
The material is called a toquilla, or toquilla straw. It comes from the toquilla plant, and it grows wild in the mountains of the coast of Ecuador. Not only in Ecuador, actually, it grows in different countries, but in Ecuador, since ancestral times, there's been a relationship with the plant until the point that they start weaving hats. Uh, and yeah, it's a niche. It's not easy because not everybody knows like their head size. So there's like the first blockage. Like some people needs to find out their size, or they need something to measure their head, and that makes them like buy time. Uh, and sometimes the sale is lost. So it's a little bit easier when you have like a physical place where people can come in and try some hats, and then they look in the mirror, and even though some say that they don't have heads for hats, those are my favorite clients because they end up.
Why? Okay.
I don't know. It's like a myth. It's like just
A
like a
challenge.
no, but I think it's like it's something in their head, like some kind of like a fake statement that they don't look good on hats. I think there's one hat for every head,
Right, right.
and it can be a classic style or more like a fancy hat that as the ones that I used to sell a long time ago. Uh, but yeah, some are big heads or too small heads, and those are usually the ones that kind of doubt about wearing hats.
I noticed though the hat can frame the head and the face. It can make you a different person. I wear this hat and I get compliments all the time. I can tilt it. I can, bend it a little bit and
Yeah,
everything.
this one too. This hat as well.
Right. Look at
I've been
that.
using it for a while, and I play with the brim a little bit. Sometimes it just looks like this. Sometimes I wear it like this. Sometimes even like this when I want to cover a little bit more my neck. So I think there's a well, it's not that I think there's actually like a legendary story about the hat. In Ecuador, there's no like specific evidence on when exactly people started to relate with the plant. It's all like a mystery. And nowadays, there's a community which is the one that I work most with or mostly with. It's called Pile, and it's in the coast of Ecuador, and they make hats that can take like the finest ones more than 5 months or 6 months to weave. So it's only one. So they make uh, two hats per year.
Oh my
So
God.
so for me, a person that is able to dedicate their mostly whole time to make a hat, it's a special person. It's like a Buddha, and it's not a coincidence that that when you get these hats and you put them like against the light, you can see like a perfect mandala, sacred geometry, like all over the surface. The finer the hat is, the easier it is to see this mandala. Because if the weave is like a little thick, the light doesn't go through. So the finer it is, the easier it is to notice the mandala. So it didn't took me too long to notice this sacred geometry on the hats, and I kind of interpret it as a message that there was something that I needed to to interpret, yeah, or to find more about like what is behind this product that is so old, as a tradition, so legendary, like in every aspect in every sense of the way. So what is like their message for humanity? And I think it's like it's like the unity that is present in this geometry.
Right.
Because we are we get lost between black and white, between the masculine and the feminine, between the father and the mother. But if you get to become one, then that's perfect. That's like divinity.
And the
Uh,
hat is kind of like a spiritual quest. It's a mathematical quest. It's a perfection in a way.
yeah. Exactly. It's been like a spiritual path. I think that like I say, like the path of the hat is my path.
Right.
I've never seen it only as a business, but also as a way or a path to get to know myself and to bring out a lot of things that I didn't even know that were like in my mind.
Right. Uh, And my wife has told me too, in my own research, you've gone through some hardships. It can be a very difficult business. It's a niche business. You give quality. This sales when they come, they're good, but it takes a while to get a sale going, to get a hat and a head and everything. And haven't you had to deal with unscrupulous people who have not been that honest with you or stealing your ideas or something of that nature?
At the beginning, I was kind of mad about people copying some things, but time always showed me that or actually the hat also has taught me that I don't have to worry because nobody is the same as the other
Mhm.
person, and that happens with the hat as well. They may look alike, but the fact of being handmade makes them like irreplaceable. So yeah, a lot of brands have like emerged and then they have disappeared. It's been like a kind of a roller coaster. But I took this like so personally in a way, and I don't get I don't get like worried about the competition nowadays. I'm right now I'm in a quest of looking for a like an investor because for me it's not only about the hat now, it's more about also creating other products that can complement the hat, whether it can be jewelry that is in some part or in some percentage made with the same straw. It can be clothing, it can be shoes, like so many things. So I'm more like focused now on building the brand than only talking about the hat and the hat. Because
Mhm.
not in Ecuador you can even find like lamps, or furniture that use the fiber. So there's a line for clothing, there's a line for uh, like home decoration, for example. This year I want to publish a book that it's about the history and the process of making the finest hats of all that are made here in Ecuador. So that gives me the chance also to kind of write, which is other like my other like passion, and I discovered also uh, like photography as a passion. I
Mhm.
have a lot of pictures I want to share also in this book. So I feel like this like very few people knows about the find we've had because I think it has been kept as a secret, as something sacred that needs to be shared. But the time is about to come.
And it's coming from you possibly. You could be like the one epicenter for this new, should we say, revolution of an old secret.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I accept the challenge like with a lot of humility or humbleness because at the end I'm nobody to change the life of anybody else. Uh, but I have learned so much about spirituality, but also entrepreneurship and a lot of things that I feel like I'm ready to give a next step.
Mhm. Because I talked to I was going around Princeton. I was asking people about this hat. What do they think? The average Princetonian or American, of the United Statian, whatever you want to call them, oh, Panama hat. Some of people they remember Theodore Roosevelt, American president, going down to Panama. That's basically it. Or gangsters, and they think the
Yeah.
hat's cool. But then they also talk about, oh, we can get a knockoff, right? So that poses a problem too. How do you kind of get the word out? How do you ramp up production? Do you go around the world, trying to, in your entrepreneurship, in your business plan to do this?
I used to, well, when I started, I went to United States basically like a year after being selling in Ecuador. I decided to go to United States and sell in different equestrian events.
Oh,
Uh,
that's a good
uh,
market.
I had another brand at that time, and the brand and the hats were very well accepted, but it was very expensive to stay there. Like I didn't had a business plan in order to stay and keep going to these events, and only selling hats was not enough. So I came back to Ecuador, and I was broke basically. A few years later, I split. I stopped working with the partners that I had at the time. There were a couple here from Ecuador, friends of mine. Um, and then I decided to focus on the find we've had because here in Ecuador there was nobody like only focus on that. And I really got in love with the town where the weavers are and their attitude, and because even though life can be hard and they have always lived in poverty, poverty. It's people that is very special, they're way happier than a lot of people rich that I have met as well. So them and the product, both things attract me a lot. Uh, and I kind of decided to give it all the time needed in order to find a way to make this profitable, because it hasn't been until now, even though it's been more than a decade, where I have got distracted in like many different occasions. I haven't been only selling hats this decade, but uh but but yeah, it still demands me a lot of time, especially when it's a fine we've had an expensive hat. I assume a compromise. I like, if you're gonna pay what I ask for the hat, then I have to be responsible enough to be present during the process, and then deliver like a masterpiece. That is how I call it.
Right.
Now, I'm working on a strategy for what is left of this year, and then for the next 10 years, that I want to present to a possible investor. Uh, because one of the dreams of the brand, or with this project, is actually to open shops in different parts of the world, where
Wow.
there's a lot of tourism, and I think the product is very attractive outside of Ecuador, especially. A lot of people, uh, I don't know, they see the hat, and they feel like they want to buy it, because, as you said, it is related to different characters that have used the hats in the past 100 years and even more, including Roosevelt, including a lot of people. So this mystery about the history and the elegance and the fact that it's handmade, and all the people related, it's like in the collective unconscious of humanity.
That's a good way to put it. I think it is in the collection. I feel like a different person when I put it on. I feel like a different role, a different, and stuff. The clothes make the man. No, so does the hat. And
Yeah,
also
yeah,
it's quite functional too. There's a functionality to it too because of the heat. Like you said, you can do different things with it. But on the
yeah.
business plan, so you have to ramp up your base, your manufacturing base, and you want to add different accoutrements to it, jewelry, clothes, and everything. Is it all going to be from one area, you think? Is that, that what part of Ecuador is this? Do the hats get made?
Well, the tradition started in the coast, and now I'm working with weavers from the coast. But there's a lot of weavers that are concentrated now in the highlands, in the Andes. Not now, but for more than 100 years now. Like, there was a time where the hat was exported a lot, so it represented a good, like a significant income for the country.
Oh,
So
really?
people from the coast was taken to the highlands to teach the indigenous people from there to weave, and with time they acquired a different technique. Like in the Andes, they weave even when they are walking, but the Monte Cristi hat, they need to assume a specific uh, position. They have to rest their chest on a tripod that is designed by the same weaver, in order to be looking at the hat all the time and creating enough pressure to make it tight enough.
Wow.
Um, so for me, this position makes like the hat to be projected into the middle, into the center of the hat, while they're weaving for months, and then you get, after taking all the fibers that are not needed from the hat, and you put it against the light, you get to see this perfect mandala.
Mandela, right,
And
right.
this sacred geometry is present also, from the galaxies to a sunflower. It's exactly the same thing. So
Wow.
is this geometrical proportion? So it's like, if I don't know if call it God, or how to call it exactly, but there's something greater than me that
Right.
has been like talking to me through the hat. So in order to not abandon this. So going back to the idea of the shops, for example, if you would be in a place like, I don't know, just to say any name now, like LA, for example, the green from the mountains where the toquilla comes, and then the beige color from this, and all the textures, and the fact that you can combine the hat with a lot of clothes, and all the pictures that I have and everything. It communicates a whole, not lifestyle but also origin. So I think that the theme, the hat, and all this culture behind it creates a nice atmosphere and invitation for people to come in.
Right. I could see that taking off. I could see it taking off. Um, how do you go about finding investors though? You look for like major investors? Do you look for small investors? Can the government get involved? Because this could promote tourism, Ecuador, everything.
Yeah, with the government it's a little tricky. I've never wanted to be related too much because they change every 4 years, and then you have to start again, and you don't know if the person's going to be corrupt or not. So I prefer to be a person that it's a very good, already like a very successful business person,
Mhm.
because I like numbers. I'm fine with numbers, but I prefer to be on the creative aspect. I love packaging design, and then writing and communication, and then telling, creating the story. So I want to develop this more artistic side, and then put everything related to finances and things in the hands of an expert somehow, or combine both things. So I think the perfect investor would be somebody that is already secure with the companies that already provide enough money, and he wants to give a step into something new, you know, where he sees potential to put his money, but also to kind of put like a contribution into a social project. This is a lot about sustainability and seeing it as a social project, but it
I,
has to
I
be it has to be profitable, of course.
I could see companies want to get involved in that, like major corporations that have that nonprofit wing where they have monies and everything. It would be really good PR for them.
I think there are great opportunities. I have suffered from the fact that I'm very perfectionist, and I want to always be, doing everything. So from doing the bill, uh, and until giving the hat to the client, I'm always involved. So I have to focus on specific things, and then start building a team that can help me achieve what I have to do. But because the hat, I think that all these years I've been getting to know myself. So when all of this kind of becomes big enough, I'm still gonna be the same person, because as you said at the beginning, this hat has been worn by different characters. I think it opens you the doors in every part of the world, from from artists to kings to gangsters to I will have to deal with people from all over the place.
Right.
So I always want to keep my essence. I don't want to be I don't know, like affected by some kind of weird energy or culture.
We'll see. One thing though, this is not a negative. I could see it might be difficult working, not difficult, but I think any entrepreneur who has so invested in this in something like this hat, and you've explained why, it's almost like your baby. And sometimes it's hard to let go about when decisions are made.
Yes, yeah, I already kind of had big lessons when I used to work with these partners, and with another partner that I had in Florida. Actually, the lesson was so hard that it took me into a very long depression. I lost the first brand that I dedicated like 6 months to create it after quitting my first job. Um, so now I really feel that I'm like, after all that experience, I start doing this like inner journey.
Mhm.
I was completely confused about what am I living for, and what am I here for? What's my purpose? And so I've been just going very, very deep, deep, deep for the last years, and now I feel like I'm ready to go back to
Okay.
business not
Well,
not
there's
a,
resilience.
not business as usual. I think there's a lot of things changing nowadays. Even if I do jewelry, I will not do jewelry because I want to make money. First I want to know where is the gold coming from, where are the emeralds coming from. Everything has to be coherent.
Irresponsible. Well, I mean, you showed me resilience coming back. In the time we have remaining, I did ask some locals in my hometown. This is coming from Princeton, New Jersey, and you're in Guayaquil, Ecuador right now.
Yes.
There's some questions. I hope maybe you can answer. It's just, this is off the cuff improvisation. What is the any memorable experience of selling the hat? Any with clients, any famous clients, or just memorable client interactions with you when you sold hats? Any interesting stories?
Well, when I was in the question events, I got to meet a lot of people. Actually, it was always a surprise. First, sometimes you don't recognize them, but when they leave and you get to see the voucher from the credit card, you see the name, and then you say like, "Wow, this was this person." You know, it happened. It happened with, for example, at that time I thought that all these people were like, wow, like worth to meet, and now I think differently. It's not, they're not my heroes anymore, but but for example, I remember attending Georgina Bloomberg, that was the daughter of Bloomberg from New York.
Right.
Steven Spielberg also. I 2 years ago, I was making a lot of hats that the Ecuadorian president was taking to different presidents, including Putin. Exactly when the war started with
Wow.
Ukraine, I was finishing a hat for him. Also, yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Sometimes I get contact by people that tell me like, hey, I need to take a hat to this person. Can you help me? And I always say, yeah, it's fine. I have developed this strategy of, by seeing pictures, I can estimate very precisely with a minimum percentage of error, like the size of the person. So I'm usually very fast, getting a hat, especially if it's not a fine weave hat. But yeah, this hat has allowed me to meet very interesting people, and that is why when I kind of noticed this potential of opening doors all over the world, I kind of like give like a step back, because I said, okay, if I'm gonna go into this and I'm gonna be responsible for this product, I also have to be responsible with the projects that I may go working with different people. So yeah, I'm gonna keep thinking as we talk about other kind of stories related, but yeah,
That could
it
be
was
for another
interesting.
time. We
Yeah,
only got 8 minutes, so but yes.
okay. Yeah. When I was selling on the question event, also in Florida, I remember we went to present ourselves to the Palm Beach Polo Club, in Florida, of course, and I had no idea the people that I would see in the club also, because sometimes you see like these rock stars or athletes in sports, and like Dennis Rodman, for example. Remember, I
Oh,
was
right.
I was selling hats, and he was just enjoying the party like 3 meters away.
Wow.
And then I knew that Madonna would just like any possible time she would land, with her plane on the any Sunday to watch a polo match and join the party. So suddenly I was in the middle of this these events with all these people that I've never thought about, and yeah, it was interesting. That's when I got to understand the potential of this product, even though it's not so easy to sell.
Well, I'll go to a party with you someday. Sounds like fun. My wife and I would like it.
Oh,
We
that would be
read those
great.
magazines and everything. So, last question before we go. We want to hear how people can contact you and everything. Oh, well, there's two. I don't know if you want to answer the first one. What's the cheapest, greatest hat I can buy? Someone does, like, I guess someone doesn't want to like empty their bank account, but they want
Yeah,
to get a
yeah.
good hat.
Well,
That's a hard question.
the cheapest one, but making sure that the weaver receive what he or she should receive, and then every person in the value chain of the product is around $100
Oh,
here in
okay.
Ecuador.
But
Yeah.
shipping too. The hat will be shipped to you or something, or
Then I would have to ship it to New Jersey or whatever the person is. That sometimes the shipping cost is like a barrier. That's why I may start some, even if it's e-commerce, I may start some e-commerce operations in US. Like I would have in storage like some hats that are would be around 100 to 300 that can be, that can rotate more easily. But if
gotcha.
you want to find weave hat, the minimum price is 500 plus shipping, and you get to live all this experience of knowing who the weaver is. I send you pictures of the process. I
I
tell
love it.
you about the profile of the person, and then like it's like the whole story.
I love it. And final question, it's a good one. Can you wear these in the rain?
Not really. Water is one of the things that you have to be careful about, because when the straw gets wet, it can, like, I don't know how you say, inflare. Like yeah, it can
Expand or something?
expand. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Like the fiber can expand a little bit, so the hat loses this shape. Uh, but I think that when I gave my maintenance to a hat, one of the things that we do is that we wash it, we brush it, but then we block it and we press it again, and it gets the shape. So water is not like a bad element in the process; is actually needed. But once it is ready and it's sharp and ready to wear, it's better to use it like in sunny occasions. That's why the Panama hat is more related to summer.
Gotcha. Um, well, I treat mine like a museum piece. I do take it out, but only when I go out to parties and stuff like that. I don't go to football games with it on, or we call it soccer or something. And I'm not going to take it out in the rain because I love this hat. Quickly, I know that you're ramping things up. If someone wants to meet you, contact you, what's the best way to do it?
Well, in Instagram is the name of the page is Culto, Culto, and Magic, Culto Magic.
Mhm. And I'll put that on this when I finish and edit this. I'll put this on and everything.
Yeah,
Well, any final words to the public?
yeah. Feel all the confidence and free to contact me through that platform, because I'm the one also responding to the different messages, and I love talking to people and explaining everything about the product. So yeah, and as a final message, I think that when you want to buy a hat, if it's a Panama hat, just don't go for the cheapest one, but for the one that represents like the fair trade and the sustainability that is very very needed in this specific category of product.
Well, thank you, Hugo. I always say Hugo. And we'll be after this call, we'll be in touch. You can even send me by WhatsApp any pertinent information or by email you want me to put on when I make this video. I want to share this video with many people as possible. And I know some people in Princeton who are very much into sustainability and helping other countries. So I'm going to spread the word. Thank you very much. And good luck. Buena suerte, as they say.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and thanks for the invitation. I
Right.
really appreciate talking with you.